Hey guys, this is Vaul, and this evening I went to a net cafe to watch the OSL Grand Finals, and I thought I would film a video about my thoughts of it post-match, because I didn't actually get the chance to jump on vent with Moltrap and Diggity and Cholera, who did an excellent job. Really enjoyed the commentary. Because I'm not going to be casting the games myself and doing VODs of them, I just thought I'd say a few things because I thought there were a few interesting things going on about those three matches. Now, of course, it was July versus Best, and a bit of a spoiler, of course, if you haven't watched it, of course you've watched it. July won. July totally dominated Best 3-0, and here's my take on it. Alright, so the first game you've got July and Best on the map Othello, with Best bottom left, Protoss, July top right, Zerg, and Best puts down his pylon as natural, ready to go for the expansion, but straight away he goes, alright, I want to get an advantage over July. I want to put down that Nexus first, I want to go into the series with the upper hand, I want to get that psychological advantage straight away, and that's his calculated gamble. That's what he did. It was a risk. It was a chance that he took, and he went for the scout at the top left, and of course didn't find July there, and July had gone for the 9 pool, and it paid off for him. And you've got to realize that both these players had practiced builds, calculated builds that they would have practiced hundreds of times with their teammates weeks beforehand, and July got to use his build. And Best had to improvise, seeing that July went for that very quick pull, and totally denied him the chance to put down that fast Nexus. And that completely changed the rest of the series. In fact, in my opinion, psychologically, the same thing happened in the second game. Best had a build set out. It was on Troy. He had that one gate tech thing going, and July, he also had a planned strategy, but it totally undercut Best's strategy because July went for that aggressive early, just before Best had a chance to show whatever he'd been practicing for weeks, and obviously that caught Best totally off guard, and July took it really easily. But Game 3 was the one that I thought was the most interesting, because Best on Andromeda, he used the strategy that Stork used to beat GT Play was it a couple of weeks ago in the Pro League, that hour and 20 minute game epic, that fantastic PvZ on Andromeda, where Stork eventually beat GGPlay by going for those Corsairs, the Reavers, getting the island expansions, just laying the smackdown with Reavers, and killing the Zerg that way. And again, Bisu used that to beat Jaedong in the Pro League as well, quite convincingly. I mean, both times, Disruption Web into carriers, it seemed to work, or seemed to be a very good move on that map. It was a Protoss strategy against Zerg designed for that map, and Bisu managed to beat Jaedong with it. So here comes Best, ready to pull out Game 3 of the OSL final with that same build, as essentially, the same strategy. And, July would have known that. July would have known, okay, Andromeda, what's been working for Protoss players against Zerg players recently? Oh, it's this build involving Corsairs and Reavers. And as soon as July got those two Zerglings past those cannons, he must have had a pretty good idea that that Best, was thinking about doing that, and he had a plan ready to counter that, and July had that down. So hats off to July for doing that, but I feel like he got some early psychological advantages in the whole series, and we didn't really get to see Best actually flex his muscles. And Best probably, a lot of people saying that Best mechanically better than July, and I think so too. He was outthought, he was outsmarted in that series, but I found it quite a disappointing series, to be honest. That's my brutal opinion about it, because I didn't really get to see July come back from any kind of point where he was behind. He didn't really show me that he could play defensively, starting out from a macro-management position, and then use that to muscle his way over his opponent. He stuck to what he was good at, and that was a wise choice from him. His Mac preparation was much better than Best's. Let's put it that way. He prepared for those matches in such a way that he came up with strategies which worked better than the ideas that Best had, and that's why he won so convincingly. But it was a disappointment for me to not actually see a great deal of diverse play from Best, and I know that all of those hours practicing and those strategies that Best had in mind didn't surface, and I really would have loved to see what Best's plans were for those first couple of games, and I didn't get to see that. So I was disappointed that there weren't more games in the series and they weren't longer. But hats off to July, and those are my 2 cents. Probably quite a long couple of cents, but that's what I thought of the finals. And just another point, it's really, really, really hard for me to participate in any kind of live casts. I know there were a few people who were saying to me that, dude, I really wanted to hear you commentate on these matches and so forth, but I just can't. I mean, the country that I'm living in, it's just so shit over here. With connections. I mean, listening to Vent, like Klazart would start talking, and halfway through Moltrap would cut in because the lag from the different countries was getting to me, and if I jumped in there as well, it just would have been a nightmare. But really had a good time tonight, really had fun. Had to go down to the Net Cafe because in my room here the connection's even worse, and even at the Net Cafe with a really fast connection and headset and the microphone, just really sucked. So, but still had a good time. And yeah, in the meantime, I hope you guys have been enjoying my VODs, and we're looking forward to the MSL finals with Jaedong, probably against Flash. I'm hoping it's Flash, possibly 4GG, but it should be a good TVZ. Anyway, this is Vaul. Guys, thanks for listening to what I had to say.